Karen's yacht detonated my dock before sunrise, and as splinters rained down, I realized she wasn't just breaking rules, she was starting a war, and I was the only law left alive on the lake. I'm Sheriff Dylan Rourke, sole owner of Raven Key, a $5 million private island the Lakeshore HOA decided to steal after rewriting their own bylaws in the dead of night. Karen Folsom, the HOA president with ambition far bigger than her jurisdiction, arrived wearing a neon blazer and carrying a forged map claiming my island was now community property. I told her nothing had changed since 1952. She told me everything had because she changed it. She slapped a violation sticker on me and promised enforcement at sunset. That was her mistake. I dug through HOA archives and found erased meetings, vanished board members, and a locked folder labeled Annex Plan. Someone was engineering a takeover. At dawn, a surveillance drone marked my home's weak points. At noon, Karen returned with a barge of workers in, matching vests, unloading fencing like they already owned the place. I flashed my badge, but she flashed a document signed by a board member who disappeared months ago. Before I could challenge it, a hidden charge exploded beneath my dock, killing my radios and shaking the island. The shoreline cracked like a bone. Karen smiled as if she'd rehearsed this moment. Two men lowered a metal case. Inside were demolition charges meant to force a boundary collapse. She whispered, "Compliance is mandatory." "Sheriff." Then the ground shifted again, this time deeper, louder, and dangerously close to my generator vault. If that blew, the entire West Ridge would sink into the lake. I drew my sidearm as the workers advanced with tactical precision. No, show team should have. Something else, someone else was backing her. A shadow figure stepped off the barge holding a tablet, streaming satellite overlays of my island, each section marked with red grids. Karen said, "Phase 2 begins now." And when the shadow figure lifted his head, I recognized the face of the supposedly missing board member, alive, armed and staring straight at me. "Subscribe to Behind the Hedges for more HOA stories." Before I could speak, he tapped the tablet and said, "Detonate Sector C." And the island answered with a roar. As the ground beneath my cabin began to collapse, the soil buckled and a fracture line raced toward my water tower. If it fell, half the island would flood. Karen lifted her phone like she was filming some HOA victory parade. The missing board member directed the workers with military precision. Then I spotted an unmarked black vessel gliding through the fog. No lights. No registration. Karen whispered, "They're here." The hatch opened, revealing silhouettes hauling equipment I knew wasn't civilian. This wasn't an annex plan. It was an organized seizure. As the vessel neared my shore, a voice thundered from a hidden loudspeaker. "Sheriff Rourke! Stand down or Sector D goes next." The loudspeaker's threat echoed off the water, but I refused to flinch. The black vessel drifted in, its engine humming like something built for covert ops, not lake patrols. Karen stood tall on the sand, hands clasped like she owned the place. The missing board member, Grant Mercer, held the tablet like a detonator, thumb hovering above another sector command. I raised my hands slightly, not surrendering, but buying seconds. "Grant, you vanished 6 months ago. The county still has an open alert. Why help her steal my island?" He smirked. "This isn't theft. It's reclamation. The HOA deserves full jurisdiction. And Karen promised me a share." Karen nodded proudly. "Once the island is absorbed, we'll redefine property values for the entire lake. We're talking millions, but your refusal complicates things, Sheriff." The vessel's ramp dropped. 4 figures in tactical gear marched out, each carrying a case marked with hazard warnings. Not HOA style, government surplus. My chest tightened. Someone with power was funding this. "Sheriff Rourke," the loudspeaker voice said again. "Step aside or we detonate Sector D." I glanced at the ridge. Sector D sat beneath the water tower's support bed. One blast and the flood would wipe out half the island's structures and potentially the people on it. I lowered my arms just enough to look compliant. Karen grinned. Good choice. But she didn't see the remote clipped inside my vest. The generator vault had an emergency lockdown system. Hydraulic steel shutters designed for storms. If triggered, they'd slam shut and reroute power through backup lines. It wouldn't stop their explosives, but it could slow the island's collapse. I tapped the hidden switch. A deep metallic clang echoed across the ridge. Karen's smile faltered. What was that? Grant looked at his tablet. He activated something. System readings shifting. The tactical group froze, scanning the trees. The loudspeaker voice barked. Proceed with extraction. Secure the sheriff. They advanced. I retreated toward the cabin ruins, drawing them uphill. Gravel skidded under my boots as the ground trembled from the earlier blasts. The wind carried the smell of burning wiring. Halfway up the ridge, a rifle laser danced across my chest. I dove behind a fallen beam as bullets shredded the dirt. Karen shouted, "Do not kill him yet!" The tactical leader signaled, flanking me. I fired 2 warning shots to slow them, but they spread out with expert coordination. Too coordinated. Then my radio, dead since the first explosion, crackled faintly. A voice whispered, "Sheriff, do you copy?" My blood froze. That voice had been missing for a year. Deputy Mara Hale. Before I could respond, a thunderous blast ripped across the ridge, sending fire spiraling into the sky as Sector D detonated on its own. The tower groaned, tilting forward. Karen screamed, "Who triggered that?" The ground convulsed beneath us, and the water tower began to fall. The water tower hit the ground with a howl that echoed across the lake, and slow flooding water curled around my boots. I pulled myself upright, coughing through dust, and saw Karen scrambling on the broken ridge, her neon blazer soaked and clinging to her like a torn flag. Grant Mercer stood beside her, tablet flickering, his confidence draining as the island he tried to claim collapsed under his feet. The tactical team regrouped near the fallen tower, unsure, shaken. No one expected Sector D to detonate on its own. Then my radio crackled again, clearer now. "Sheriff. It's Mara. I'm on the far shore. I see the blasts. You're not alone." Hearing her after. A year felt like surfacing from a long burial. Karen heard it too. Her eyes sharpened. "She was supposed to be gone," Karen hissed. Grant backed away. "You told me she was dead." Karen snapped. "I told you she was handled." Her words chilled me more than the rising water. I stepped forward. "What did you do to my deputy?" Karen's voice wavered. "She found the annex files. She threatened to expose everything, the erased meetings, the funding, the land grabs. We couldn't let her ruin the plan." Grant stared, stunned. "You said this was legal expansion." Karen looked at him with a hollow kind of pity. "Nothing big starts legal." The tactical leader raised a hand. "Ma'am, we have to withdraw. The island's unstable." But Karen wasn't listening. She marched toward me, shaking and desperate. "You ruined everything. Years of planning, every boundary, every vote, every forged signature because people are too blind to see real power. This lake could have been an empire." I shook my head. "It was a community." Behind her, Grant powered down the tablet and threw it into the water. "I'm done, Karen." Another tremor rolled beneath us, the ridge splitting wider. Water poured through the crack as Karen stumbled. For a moment, she looked almost human, scared, small, aware the empire she built on lies was dying beneath her. I reached out. "Karen, don't move." She stared, wild-eyed. "You think I'll let you be the hero?" The ground shifted. Karen slipped. I lunged, grabbing her wrist as mud slid under my knees. "Hold on!" For once, she didn't fight. She whispered, "I never wanted it to end like this." She slipped away into the dark water below. The lake swallowed the last echo of her fall. Grant surrendered without a word. As sun broke through smoke, Mara's voice came through once more. "Dylan, it's over." But staring at the ruin, I knew truth. This wasn't victory. It was the price of uncovering a secret that was never meant to surface. And the lake wasn't done with us yet.